Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the live. I know it's been a while since I did my last live. I want to say it's probably been a month. Hey, what's up, Martin? How you doing? I'm glad you can make it to the live, man. Hopefully we don't have any problems with the live today. Well, looks like we'll have a few more people starting to trickle in here in a minute. Well, I hope you guys have had an opportunity to take out some of the videos that I've put out over the last month. I think I put out 12 videos in July. So if you haven't had a chance, go to the channel and check out the videos that I put out in July. There's some good stuff in there. Hey, what's up, T Hall? I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Good to be back doing a live. All right, Martin, quick question. I have enough money for a deposit on a small apartment. I'm thinking, should I try resell it or try to rent it out? Also, should I look for new buildings or already built? Thanks. Well, Martin, that depends on what your strategy is for your real estate portfolio. But, if you have an apartment building, you feel like you have done everything you wanted to do from a real estate standpoint with that apartment building, and it's time to sell it to invest in additional real estate or deploy that money into some other type of investment, then I would say certainly go ahead and give that some consideration. But it really boils down to, is the property still, or does it fit in your real estate goal? Is it doing what you needed to do from a real estate standpoint? And if it is, keep it. If it's not and it's time to move on, then sell it. DR, appreciate you, man. Which is better, a duplex or single family for investment? In my opinion, both are great. But as I've mentioned in the videos, the reason I do single family rentals is because it's just a more simple real estate property to own. I'm not dealing with two tenants, I'm only dealing with one tenant. And I think, in my opinion, now, I know our areas in the country may differ, but in the area I live in, normally you're gonna get better appreciation on a single family rental than you will on a duplex. Now that's in my market where I live. It may be different in your area of the country you live in, but in my area, a single family rental in a good community is gonna appreciate a lot faster than a duplex. Because keep in mind, when you have residential zoned areas, normally they're zoned for single family homes. Every now and then you'll get one zoned for multifamily, but single family really in my area is the predominant type of real estate. So it's gonna appreciate a little bit more. Let's see here what we got. Curtis, what's up, Fame Gang? Hey, what's up, man? I appreciate you. All the way out from Oakland, California. I appreciate you joining us on the live. DR, do you think it would be wise to put all money into real estate investment since I have free room and board in the military? Again, DR, that just depends on your financial situation. What I tell people before they invest in anything is make sure that you have 8 to 12 months of your expenses set aside in a FDIC insured account at a bank so that if something happened to you, for some reason you had to exit the military and you needed to find a new job, you got at least 8 to 12 months of your expenses set aside to give you a little bit of time to get back on your feet. Once you got that in place, then I would say, yeah, start saving to invest in something, whether it be real estate, whether it be the stock market or mutual. Find something to do with the money that's going to give you a nice return, because what you want to ultimately do is, if you're an investor, you want to save up enough money so that you can buy a piece of real estate, put your 20% down, pay for your closing costs, and still have a little money left over in order to get into real estate. So get the rainy day fund put away first and then start saving for investing. James, how do you know you are getting authentic watches when you buy watches? Well, keep in mind, guys, I've been buying watches for over 10 years. So I've bought a lot of watches. I've sold a lot of watches. So I'm not new to this. So what I typically do is the first thing I look for when I'm buying a luxury watch online is I buy the seller. And what I mean by that is I make sure the person that I'm buying that watch from on the other end is legitimate. So I'm gonna make sure I get feedback from others who have bought from that person. I'm gonna do my internet searches on that person. And ultimately, if I feel comfortable with the seller, then ultimately I'll go ahead then and purchase the watch. But I don't, and always think about if it's a deal that's too good to be true. In a lot of cases, it may be. So you want to make sure you don't, and let me give you a quick example. If it's a Rolex Submariner that's typically selling for $7,000 online, and everywhere you look, it's in that $7,000 range, but you have a seller that's selling it for $5,500, you know something's not right there. So just use your common sense, make sure you vet the seller, and then get some type of return policy if you can. And furthermore, if you're not comfortable, make sure you pay with your credit card. That way, if something goes wrong, you can always go to your credit card company to dispute that transaction so that you can have some recourse to that seller. Let's see here. I bought a single family 2 years ago for $250. It's now worth $290. Should I sell it and hold the cash on the sideline for a possible downturn over the next 12 to 24 months? Well, that's a good question. If it were me, knowing what I know about the economy, about the real estate market, you got to understand we're at a situation now, at least in my opinion, and guys, I'm just one guy. I'm not an expert, so do your homework. But what I see is two things happening right now. I see low unemployment and I see low long-term interest rates. So that always tells me those are the two ingredients you need for a booming real estate market. Because one, if unemployment's low, that means people are employed. They're working. And normally when people are employed and working, if they don't own a home, that's one of the things they aspire to do is to own a home. And when interest rates are low, that also further gives people the opportunity to get into a home that they may or may not could afford 2 years ago when rates were higher. So when interest rates are low, when I'm talking about long-term interest rate, 30-year fixed mortgage interest rates are low, and unemployment is low, those are two key ingredients for a healthy housing economy. So in my opinion, I wouldn't sell right now. I would continue to ride that wave because I think if you sell now, you're going to miss a lot of appreciation in your property, especially on a single family home. So do your homework in your area to make sure you're comfortable with that. But if it was me, I would keep my money in, I would keep the property and continue to ride that wave and just watch the market. If you see rates starting to slide upwards, or if unemployment starts to increase, then at that point I would be considering getting out of that property as fast as I can and taking my cash and putting it on the sideline till my next investment popped up. Do you use Robinhood? No, I do not, Daniel. I do not use Robinhood. Afraid going to get stuck holding the bag. Well, again, guys, any investment, there's a risk associated with it. You just got to figure out what your financial objective is investing and what your risk tolerance is. If your risk tolerance and your gut is telling you to get out of something, then get out of it and wait until you're comfortable to get back in. Let's see here. Opinion on diamond watches, Rollies. Not my thing, but I know a lot of people like them, especially if there are Rolex watches that have diamonds that were installed in the watch by Rolex from the manufacturer. Then those are nice, but it's not my cup of tea. But there are a lot of people out there that do like diamond watches. Congrats on all your success from your. Hey, appreciate it, man. Thank you. Would you suggest a HELOC? Well, absolutely. If you guys been following my channel, you know when it comes to real estate, I'm a big believer in using the equity in my primary home to help me facilitate some of the transactions that I want to do out here to make more money. So for me, yes, I'm a big believer in a HELOC if it's used properly. Obviously, you need to use it properly, but I am a big believer in it if used properly. Dude, I got something that will change your life. No need to work hard for. Okay. Gotcha, man. I appreciate it. Let's see here. Curious, what type of banking are you in? Like, okay, I'm in commercial banking. So I do commercial real estate financing as part of my job. So that's what I do in banking. I'm a commercial real estate lender. Let's see here. Just curious, what type of banking? Okay, you already asked that question, Zach. Let's see if we got anything else that I'm missing. Okay, have you used hard money on your real estate purchases? That's from Lewis. No, I have not. I have not used hard money because I haven't had to use hard money. I believe in, and I've always been a good steward of my personal credit, and I've been a good steward of saving so that I have the appropriate amount of money to put down to be able to get a conventional or a traditional direct loan from a bank. Now, I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with hard money lending. I think there's a place for hard money lending, or it wouldn't exist. So obviously there's a place for it. It's just not a lending source that I've had to use. Okay, what do you think of drop shipping business with suppliers in the U.S.? I think drop shipping businesses are awesome if it's something that you feel like you want to be a part of. I think it's a proven system, at least here in the United States. I'm not sure about in other countries, but it's certainly a proven system here in the United States. And if you get the right business plan and you have the right partner in that type of business, I think it's a good business to be in. I may need lending for a multifamily deal. Okay. That's fine. I mean, again, hard money lending has its place. I would just say make sure you understand what your terms are in your promissory note. Make sure you know what your covenants are inside your business loan agreement. Just make sure you know exactly what's going on as it relates to your loan documents, because if something were to happen, then you're gonna need to be able to remedy that situation, and you're gonna need to be able to remedy whatever that loan agreement or that promissory note says you have to remedy. So just be careful, but I don't have anything against hard money as long as you understand what you're getting into. Hey Richard, I just didn't catch whether I should go for an already built apartment or buy them pre-built. P.S. Europe. Well, again, guys, Martin, that depends on you. Personally, I would find one that is already existing and purchase it. Why? Because you don't have to worry about any construction risks or lease-up risks. If you can find you one that's already a good performer, it's already full of tenants, and all you got to do is pay your money for it and take over the rents and start collecting cash, in my opinion, that's the less riskier deal. Brand new construction has some risks associated with it, and as long as you're comfortable with that risk, then maybe pre-construction or pre-built would be the way to go. But if it was me, I would take my money and buy something that already has a 100% leased up with tenants. I'd pay market value for it, and I'd just move on, and I'd collect my rents, and I'd just watch my appreciation go up. The key though is buy in an area that is growing and doing well, so that you can make sure you can get some upside out of that particular apartment building. Do I invest in Bitcoin? No, I do not. I've only recently come across your channel videos, watched a few of your advice videos on making money work for you. Thank you. I appreciate you watching the videos, and I hope they were helpful. Let's see here. Really happy to see the success you're having. Congratulations, and thank you for sharing your knowledge. Truly, thank you, man. I appreciate you hanging out and watching the videos and being on the live chat today. Hey, Richard, thank you for being a great resource on luxury watch sales. Thoughts on listing on eBay when new to selling on eBay? Thoughts on Bell & Ross? I think Bell & Ross is a fantastic watch company. They've been around for a long time. I'm a big fan of their watches. What I would tell you about eBay is it's a wonderful platform for buying and selling a lot of things. It's certainly a wonderful platform for buying and selling watches. I would just say if you're new to it, be careful, understand how eBay works, understand their policies as it relates to sellers and buyers. And as long as you understand that and you know how to maneuver around their marketplace, you'll be fine. And if you have some additional questions, just hit me at richardfane28 on Instagram. Just send me a DM and we can talk a little bit more about it if you want more feedback on my experience, at least on eBay. Hey Travis, how you doing, man? I appreciate you dropping in. Samuel, let's get your question first here. I'm 18 years old, just getting started in life and want to start making money. Any advice? Well, you guys know I'm a big believer in college. I'm not saying that you got to go to college to be successful. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, in my opinion, if you're 18 years old and you have the ability to go, then go. What it does for you is it gives you an opportunity for that 3 to 4 years to figure out what you want to do with the rest of your financial life, your professional life, if you're unsure. But if that's not an option for you, then the next thing I would tell you to do is certainly figure out what type of work you do want to do. And once you figure that out, then go figure out and learn and get some experience in that field and start applying it to your financial life. I always tell people, you always should have a primary form of income, and then you should always be creating additional sources of income. I'm a big believer in that, and I would tell you that as well as an 18-year-old. Find you a primary source of income, whatever it might be. That way you can take care of yourself, but always be working on additional sources of income so that you can always continue moving your financial self along and get to where you want to be based on your financial goals. How much will you make off your Rolex when you sell it? Now, Travis, that's one thing you got to understand about a luxury watch flipper or watch sales such as myself. You never discuss what you bought the watch for. You never discuss what you're going to sell it for. All you want to do in this situation is buy it at the right price and then market it at whatever price you want to market it at. Now, I'm a free market guy. So although you guys are my family here on YouTube, this watch that I'll be selling, or all my watches I sell, people from all around the world look to buy these watches. So I need to keep some of my strategy as it relates to buying and pricing watches. Sometimes you have to just keep that to yourself. But if you want to hit me on Instagram, and I know you know how to reach me on Instagram, Travis, then we can chop it up a little bit. In terms of real estate, what would you do if you lived around San Francisco? Wow, that's a good question because, that's a high priced real estate market. What I would probably do if I lived in San Francisco or some of these other places like New York City, Seattle, I would look for an investment group. I would look for a real estate investment group that I could join and get with like-minded people who understand the power of collaboration and pooling our money together to buy a piece of real estate. That's what I would do. And the reason I say that is because the real estate in those markets are extremely high. And I'm not sure if the rents that you'll collect will justify it. But what thing you will get in those markets is appreciation. So you may get a property that you pay a high ticket for, and you may only break even from the rent standpoint. But in 5 years, you may appreciate 30 or 40% in value. And that's where you'll make your money on the exit. So if you're in these high real estate priced areas, look for real estate investment groups and try to find you a couple of partners in those real estate investments groups to go in partnership with you, and you guys purchase the properties together. And then you do that a couple of times, then you'll have enough of your own money to be able to go out and buy your own property in those markets, and then you just keep moving on from there. That would be my advice. Let's see here. Samuel, I'm going to college to study economics. Thank you for the advice. Hey, congratulations, man. I think that's the right move. Economics is a good major. And while you're in college, studying hard, make sure you keep your eyes and ears open for additional income opportunities. Figure out a way while you're in college to start earning some money through additional forms of income. That's the only other thing that I'd ask you to consider. Zach, Dion and I play a game of pickup football. Okay, that's awesome. Which Dion you talking about? You got it, Travis. No problem, man. What is your opinion on purchasing investment properties in different states with lower real estate costs? Well, again, I'm a big believer in, I buy real estate in my own backyard. I buy real estate where I live. And the reason I do that is because, real estate is tricky. And it's tricky, especially for a absentee owner. And if I buy a piece of real estate in Georgia and I live in Florida, it's hard for me to be able to manage that property and make sure it's doing what it needs to do. It's harder for me to manage that tenant because I'm so far away. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done. It can be done if that's what you want to do. But for me, I want easy, easy, easy. I want my properties right here in my backyard because that's where my team of folks at that I know who can help me when I have a problem with the property. If I got a problem with my tenant, I can go right there and knock on the door. It's not a big deal. Knock on the door, Mr. Tenant. What's the problem? For me, investing in my backyard is just easier. But nothing wrong with investing in a different state if you have the resources to help you manage that property when you're not there. Let's see here. What is your motivation for providing everyone with your knowledge? Well, John, good question. My motivation is simply this. When I was coming up, I was always taught by my mother, hey, when you do well in life, don't forget the people who helped you along the way. Now, I'm not saying you guys have helped me along the way, but I think my way of giving back and doing good, because you can have all the money in the world, but that's not really, who cares if you make a lot of money and leave a lot of money to somebody? Nobody. I want my legacy to be that I was trying to help people. And for me, that's the reason I do this. That's why I don't charge for classes and all this other stuff, is because it's free knowledge. Knowledge, everybody should have access to knowledge. And if I can give you guys my knowledge to help you further your cause for financial freedom, then that's what it's all about. I'm doing what I want to do from a financial standpoint. I've lived a good life. I've had great opportunities in my life. There's a lot of people who've helped me in my life, and it's just my way of giving back and passing it forward. Should I wait to get credit score up to get the HELOC or get the refinance this month? I want to use the money to buy more properties. King Wage. Hey, I'm not sure. I'm sorry, Timothy. That was Timothy. I'm not sure, Timothy, what your credit score currently is. I'm not sure if you've already went to a bank or lending institution to apply for a HELOC and they've told, I don't know your situation, but what I will tell you is it's always good to know what your credit score is. And if the lender has told you, hey, this is what you need to do in order for us to get you this HELOC, I would say go ahead and do that. But that's up to you. I mean, the HELOC or refinance, it just depends on what your financial situation is. And me personally, I don't like refinancing my properties. I prefer to just do a 30-year fixed mortgage, keep that in place, and then do a HELOC. Because a HELOC is more flexible. Normally with a refinance, you get the cash one time and that's it. You got to refinance again to get more cash. With the HELOC, you can use it, pay it down, use it, pay it down, and you don't have to go through this whole qualifying thing every time you need to use the money on the HELOC. So for me, the HELOC works better, but it depends on your situation, which one you should go with, HELOC or the refinance. That's up to you. Russ, hi, I just watched one of your videos today and I'm a young, inspiring entrepreneur, and I appreciate you helping us out. Hey, man, again, my pleasure, man. That's why I do these lives. That's why I do the videos, man. So anybody out there that wants to learn about real estate and learn about luxury watch sales, learn about my story and how I accomplished what I set to accomplish in my life and the tools that I use in order to put me in a position where I can do some of the things I want to do, I'm more than willing to give that information out on YouTube, man. That's just my way of giving back. Travis, what's the furthest you will invest into a property? I'm not sure if you mean furthest as it relates to distance or money. So give me a little bit of color around that, Travis, if you don't mind. Lewis, thanks for playing it forward. My pleasure, Lewis, my pleasure. Thank you for your time and information. Thank you, Pat. I appreciate you stopping by. Refinancing starts the clock over. That's why I prefer the HELOC. Good point, Lewis. You're absolutely right. HELOC, normally with a HELOC, you have, I believe it's a 20-year HELOC. And I believe you can go up and down on it for 10 years. Don't quote me on that, guys. Go do your own research. But I agree with Lewis. I think the HELOC is the right way to go if you're gonna use and you want to repay it and use it again and not have to go through the whole hassle of refinancing every time you need money out of the property. Then I think the HELOC works better. Okay, Travis. So you mean distance? Again, I invest in my backyard. I'm not gonna go in my county. So the county that I live in, those are my parameters. I'm not buying anything outside of the county that I live in. Because for me, it's too much of a hassle owning properties outside of, 75, 100, 200 miles away. It's just too much hassle for me. But for some of you guys, it might be perfect. Hey, sir, greetings from South Africa. News, thank you for joining us, man. Let's see here. What percentage are you putting down on investment properties? I'm putting down 20% on my single family rentals. So I put down 20% plus whatever the closing costs are to purchase the single family rental. I believe in putting 20% down. I believe in having some equity in the game. I think that is a more attractive profile to lenders. Most of your mainstream lenders is not going to want to do an investment property for an individual who only wants to put 5 or 10% down. They're just not going to do it because you don't have enough invested into the property. If you decided, hey, I don't like the property in a way, it's easy for you to walk away with 5% down. But with 20% down or 25% down, these lending institutions understand that's a little bit harder for somebody to walk away from unless they just certainly have to. So they're going to require you put 20 to 25% down in most cases. Most mainstream traditional bank lenders or financial lenders will require that. So that's what I put down, and I'm okay with that. Let's see, Gerald, love the info and motivation. Thank you. I appreciate that, Gerald. Silent partner, what did you choose? Why did you choose real estate over other means of investing, such as passive stock market investment? And that, well, real estate was my first additional stream of income, and I fell into real estate through buying my first primary home. Once I bought that primary home, I started obviously reading some books. I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Went to a couple of his meetings that he was having here locally in my town. Now, this is many years ago. And from there, that just got me thinking, man, why am I thinking the old way of thinking, which is, and again, guys, I'm not knocking people who, invest how you want to invest, but the way I look at it is the way Robert Kiyosaki looked at it is, you leverage. If I got a house with $100,000 worth of equity in it, and I'm a guy that wants to make money and want to leverage and make more money, then it behooves me to tap into that equity and buy more real estate. So that's what I started doing after I read Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And I must tell you, it has done very well for me. From there, I did get into luxury watch sales, and I did get into stock market investing as well. So those are my three forms of additional income. On the stock side, I like MoneyGram, Goldman, doing big things. Hey, whatever works for you. I would say, guys, do your homework when it comes to investing in stocks or investing in mutual funds or whatever else is out there, Bitcoin, whatever's out there, do your homework. Get you some professional advice from a licensed person who is licensed to sell those types of products. Get you some advice if you're not sure what you're doing. It'll just save you a lot of heartache in the long run. Let's see here. Do you do multifamily? I can't remember ever hearing your thoughts on multifamily or commercial. After I get into the game, my goal is to have a hotel in Cambodia. I personally don't do multifamily and I don't do commercial. Nothing wrong with those. Those are two great segments in the real estate property portfolio. The reason I don't do them is because I'm back to my premise. I want a simple property, one tenant. I don't want to deal with a whole bunch of tenants. I don't want to deal with commercial tenants. I just want to deal with residential tenants. And the reason is, if something happens in our economy, and like it did in 2008, One thing I learned from 2008, the recession we had in 2008 is, although there were a lot of foreclosures and there were a lot of people who lost their homes, which was unfortunate, one thing I did understand is people still needed somewhere to live. So if I'm a guy that has 4 or 5 single family homes, we hit a recession and people have to leave their big gigantic homes with these big old mortgages, but they still need somewhere to live. Guess what? I'm still in good shape. Now, the guy that owns that commercial building and that multifamily building, they may not be in as good a shape as me, because if I own a commercial building and I own my home and I lose my job in the recession, which one you think will be the first property I let go back to the bank? It's going to be the commercial property. I'm not going to let my home go. That'll be the last thing I let go. So again, guys, I'm not saying that commercial and multifamily is not good. It's a wonderful investment. But you ask for my opinion. For me, single family rentals is the safest, easiest investment in real estate you can make. And there's a lot of good upside appreciation to it as well if you buy it in the right area. Let's see here. How do I learn more about stocks? Travis, I recommend you go speak with a licensed investment advisor. If you have a bank where you have your primary checking account or you have some accounts, go see someone at that bank and ask them for a licensed investment person to speak with you about investing. And that would be my recommendation to you, because that's the safest way for you to go if you're new and you're just getting started at this investment thing. Talk with someone who's licensed. I would go face to face and talk with them. I wouldn't do the whole online thing. I'd make an appointment. I'd go talk to them face to face. I'd tell them what I'm trying to accomplish, and I believe they'll help you along that path, or put a plan together, or help you put a plan together to reach your long-term financial goals with investing. Dr. Boyce Watkins has a free stock training program, Black Business School. That's an option as well, if that's something that you want to pursue. Robert Kiyosaki is saying on his podcast that the U.S. economy is about to tank. Guys, again, I can't dispute that or not. I would tell you, do your homework and follow your gut. For me, I'm a big believer in just following my gut. It served me well over the last 25 years. So that's what I'm going to continue doing. I have a lot of respect for Robert Kiyosaki. I have a lot of respect for Warren Buffett and some of the other folks that have amassed billions of dollars in income from investments in real estate and the stock market. I value all their opinions, but at the end of the day, guess what? It's my money, and guess what? I'm going to go with my gut. So I would tell you to do the same. Let's see what else we got here. All right, let me see here. But like I was saying earlier, guys, if you have not checked out the channel over the last month, please take some time, go to the channel, check out the last 12 or so videos that I made, especially the ones in July. I made a lot of good videos in July just about the things that I do every day in order to put me in the right mindset in order to go out every day and make it happen. So please take some time, go back and look at some of those videos if you don't mind. Let's see here what we got. He may be just trying to get sales on his new book. I don't know. Robert Kiyosaki is a pretty credible guy. Boyce Watkins, I'm not sure who Dr. Boyce Watkins is. I'm not sure who that person is, but I'm sure they're credible and have been doing this for a long time. Okay, 20% down is your experience. How much in reserves do lenders want to see? For instance, a reserve of 6 months on mortgage payments. Now, in my case, on residential single-family rentals, they don't require, I've not run into a lender that has asked me to put any reserves aside. Normally, you'll see that in your larger multifamily, like larger apartment building deals and your commercial property deals. You'll see, if they're larger deals, you'll see the lenders wanting certain reserves set aside so that they know the taxes are paid every year. They know if in 3 years, if there's a new roof that needs to be put on the building, there are reserves for that. Normally you see those type of requirements in loan documents when you get to much larger deals, and normally in like larger apartment complex deals, larger commercial real estate deals. Normally you don't see that on small deals in single family or any small deals. Normally it's in the larger deals. What's one supercar and one luxury watch on your list for the future? Well, pretty easy with the supercar. It's a Ferrari F12, man. If I can get my hands on one of them. Now, I can get my hands on one. The kicker is I got to go raise the money in order to get it. So that's why I'm busting my butt and working hard every day to put myself in a position where at some point in the future, I can grab one of those F12s and put it out there in the garage. From a watch standpoint, I've owned so many watches over the last 10 years that, but I would say if I could get my hands on one right now, it would probably be, and I know everybody wants this watch, but I'm a big fan of the new Rolex GMT Pepsi. So if I could grab me one of those, I'm on a couple of lists. I don't know how real the list is, but if I can grab one of those, and I can grab one now, but I'm just not willing to pay double what retail is. I'm not willing to pay 50% over retail. If I'm going to buy one, I'm going to buy it at retail and move on. So if I can't get it at retail, then it'll just stay on the wish list. Hey, Steve, how's it going, man? The economy will only crash if the U.S. go to war. The economy is on fire now. Well, hey, good. That's a good comment. I'm not sure what's going to happen with the economy. I know right now it appears to be doing fairly well and fairly stable. Like I said earlier in the live, unemployment is low, interest rates are low. So if you're someone that's looking to invest in real estate, this is a good time to consider real estate because, you got low interest rates and you can pick up a 30-year fixed mortgage at a 4% rate or 3.5% rate for 30 years. That's a pretty good deal. Let's see here. When selling a luxury watch, what kind of brands and price points yields best ROI would you look to make $1,000 a sale? Well, again, I don't really talk about what my strategy is for pricing watches. What I would probably tell you is figure out what the price point you're comfortable with. When I initially started out, my comfort level was, hey, I got $1,000 to spend on this watch. And as long as I make more than that $1,000 when I resell it, that's a plus. Now, I have evolved from that because I've been doing it for a long time. So my threshold, that's why I don't have as many watches anymore. I keep fewer watches, but I got big spreads in them. So when one does go, I make quite a nice return on it. But I don't really have a preset. What I do, I have a dollar amount in my head that I want to make on an annual basis. So if I make that in selling 5 watches, I'm good. If I make that in selling 15 watches, I'm good. So I do an annual budget for myself that I'm going to spend on luxury watches. And then I have an annual level of income I want to make as well. And as long as I hit those 2 numbers, I'm in good shape. Let's see here. Okay, I am from Argentina. Your house and cars are beautiful. Sorry for my bad English. Not a problem. I think that's Yermi. Thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate you stopping in and joining us from Argentina. Thank you. Does Primetime do any real estate investing? You ever talk about the kind of things in the convo or only football? No, man. I've known Deion Sanders, man, Primetime, for over 40 years, man. We grew up in the same neighborhoods, played ball together, and we're still good friends. I was just out there visiting him about 3 weeks ago in Dallas. And, Deion has done extremely well. He's a really, really astute business person. And now I'm not going to go into what he does with all of that stuff. But what I will tell you is he's done extremely well for himself. And he's one of my mentors. He's one of the guys who I look to for advice and I look to for motivation in order to continue to stretch myself and to get me where I want to go. Our objectives with money are totally different from one another, but I respect his hustle, I respect his intellect, and I just respect what he stands for. So those are the type of people, guys, if you watched any of my videos in this last month, those are the type of people you want to find somewhere you want to have in your circle. Because these are the folks you're going to go to and lean on for advice and for direction. You want to surround yourself with people that are successful. And I'm not just talking about people who have a lot of money. I'm just talking about people who have attained the level of success in their life that they were striving to reach. Those are the people you want to get information from and lean on and learn from. What is your primary source of investing in real estate? I'm not sure if I know what that means. What is your primary source for investing in real estate? I'm not sure I know what you mean, but well, I invest in real estate. I raise money. I put a down payment on it, and I invest in it for long-term appreciation. I do get the income from the rental income, but that's not the important piece for me. The important piece for me is the appreciation. So when I exit the property, that's where I look for the biggest return on my investments when it comes to real estate. And that's what I've done over the years, and it's done very well for me. What's your position on living in an HOA versus a non-HOA? Well, I'll tell you, HOAs, it just depends. If I'm an investor, I don't want to be in an HOA. And I'll tell you why. Because if I'm an investor, my whole thing is controlling my expenses. And I want to get the very best property I can get, but I want to have the lowest expense ratio I can have as well. And normally with HOAs, you're going to pay HOA fees on a monthly or a quarterly basis. And those fees can vary. I mean, they can vary from year to year. They'll go up every year. I can guarantee you that in most cases. So for me, I prefer buying properties in areas that are not controlled by a HOA. I just want them in a good community, in a standalone community, non-HOA community, because being in a HOA, you're not going to be able to charge any more rent, but you're going to have more fees associated with the HOA. Because most people who are looking to rent a place in the area that I live in, you got HOA communities, but then you just got standalone communities. But most of the homes in the standalone communities have pools. So most people, at least a lot of people who rent in HOAs, they rent because of the amenities that are in the HOA. In the area I live in, you have golfing communities and you have non-golfing communities, but you have a ton of golf courses that you can go to that you don't have to be a part of a community. So for me, I look for properties that are non-HOA because that fits my real estate goal. It may be different for you guys though. I just started watching. Is it possible to make $100K profit after taxes a year flipping luxury watches? Well, I think it's possible. I think anything's possible. I think there are people out there that do extremely well with luxury watch sales. So it's certainly possible. The key though is you're going to have to set a system up in order to be able to do that. Everybody just doesn't do that. I mean, that is to make that kind of money in luxury watch sales, you got to have a real proven system in place, and you're going to have to. So yeah, is it possible? Absolutely. What is a good starter watch you would recommend to flip? For me, my very first watch I flipped was a Tag Heuer. I can't remember the model number on it, but it was a Tag Heuer. I paid $1,000 for it. I actually listed it for like $1,200. And I sold it for $1,100. So my very first flip, I made $100, and then boom. After that, I was addicted. What age you started investing in real estate, and got any tips for young guys trying to invest in Rhode Island? I'm 20. Well, I was 26 years old when I bought my first single family rental, and I bought it to live in though. So I bought the property to live in with the intent in a couple of years, I would rent the place out. So I was able to get into it as my primary residence with the intent to rent in a couple of years. So that's what I did. I got into that property for about 3% down as a first-time home buyer, and I lived in the property for 2 years because I was required to by my loan. And then I rented the property out after that and bought a second home, and I just kept doing that until I got enough money to be able to buy multiple properties at once. So as a 20-year-old, you can do the same thing, man, if that's what you want to do. I would say consider buying a home and living in it for a couple of years and then starting your real estate portfolio that way. If your money is limited right now, you can do it that way. If you already have a bunch of cash, then you can go out and just buy your property outright, put your down payment down, or buy it outright. But if not, think about buying a primary residence, living in it for a couple of years, and then perhaps turning it into a rental property. A Roth IRA set up for me by my mother was one of the luckiest things I got. Paid for my down payment on my condo, penalty free, and is growing like crazy. Vanguard has very low fees. Well, good for you, Gerald. Looks like that opportunity worked out well for you, and you're investing the money the right way. So that's a good thing for you, man. Where can I find a mentor in real estate investing? Do you need great credit? Well, I think you got a lot of great information out on the World Wide Web that you can tap into, or again, you can go in your local area and join a real estate networking group. And in that real estate networking group, there will be a vast amount of real estate experience and knowledge in that real estate investing group. And then that's how you can learn as well. So you don't always have to pay a bunch of money to someone to learn about real estate. You can go join a real estate networking group, go to their meetings, and you will learn a ton, man, from that. I did that early on when I was just starting out in real estate. Again, back to Robert Kiyosaki, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. That was one of the suggestions. Get around some people, get around a real estate investment group, get around people who know real estate and learn from them. So that's what I did. And I would recommend that to you as well, Aiden. What do you recommend I do with $15,000 saved after 20 years in prison? Wow. Well, I think I would be, if it was me, just getting out of prison and I had $15,000, I'd probably set that money aside in a safe place and go ahead and get me some gainful employment. And then obviously once I get on my feet, get me a place to live, get on my feet, get me a solid job, and start making some money, then at that point, I would probably start looking at investment opportunities. But I would tuck it away in a safe place until you get on your feet, get you a home or get you a place to live, get you a job, make sure that's secure, and then boom, from there, start looking at some investment opportunities. But obviously there's real estate and other stuff out there. So, but I would get on my feet first, Hollins, before I just tuck that money away as my nest egg or my safety blanket until you can get on your feet. Do you recommend FHA loans? Absolutely. I mean, if you're a first-time home buyer, yeah, you can take advantage of an FHA loan as a first-time home buyer. I did, Michael, when I first bought my first home. That's how I got my 3% down, through an FHA loan, first-time home buyer. So yeah, I think it's a wonderful program, but I think it's a program restricted to first-time home buyers. You guys correct me if I'm wrong on that, but I think it is a program that's restricted to first-time home buyers. Hey, Richard, what do you think of Bitcoin? I don't know much about Bitcoin. I've been asked that several times. And honestly, guys, I don't know much about Bitcoin. I'm a creature of habit. I'm just a creature of habit. When I find something that I like and that works, I just stick with it. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm of that old school mentality. So the whole Bitcoin thing never appealed to me. I never researched it. I never learned. I never read anything about it because I'm not interested in that. What I'm doing right now works for me, so why change? But it may be a good opportunity for you and others out there that are watching. So just do your research. Eugene, any tips on saving the 8 months of expenses before investing? Well, the big tip I can give you on that is, in order to save money, you have to have a good understanding of, one, how much money you make, and then two, how much money you're currently spending. So I always recommend that people sit down and have a real candid conversation with themselves about how much money they make and how much they're spending. Write all your income down, write all your expenses down. And then I would say go through that list of expenses, and if whatever's on that piece of paper is not a must-have to live every day, take it off. That's what I would do. And as you take things off that are not needs, and you take off these wants, then you'll find out you will free up some cash that you can start investing. Now, it may be $50 a month that you free up, but at least you can take that $50, put it in a investment vehicle, and just every month automatically take that 50, or every week or whatever it is, automatically have them take that money out and invest it for you. And then in 5 years, you got a nice little nest egg, or 3 years, you got a nice little nest egg to be able to start investing. That's what I recommend, is sit down, take a look at your income, take a look at your expenses, weed out the stuff that you really don't need, and then take those savings and start investing it and start putting it in the rainy day fund, and then furthermore invest from there. All right, guys, we got about 10 more minutes on the live, and then I'm gonna shut it down. Let's see what we got here. Come to the bomb up to, I'm not sure what that means. Mohammed, okay, let's see here. Jason Peters, Will Motivation. Yep, Jason, Joseph Will is a great guy. He has a great real estate course out there on his channel. I think it's Real Estate 101. So for you guys that, you know, Will Motivation is a very successful entrepreneur and real estate investor. He has a pretty good size residential real estate portfolio, and he's put together a course. So certainly go check him out. I like Will. He's a great guy. I get inspiration from him. I enjoy his YouTube channel. I enjoy his content. And I think he's doing exactly what he should be doing. He's giving back, educating folks, and enjoying his life. So I'm proud of him and all the work that he does. Let's see here. How are you doing, sir? Thank you for the positive advice. I appreciate that, Gaming with Horace. Thank you so much. Oh, okay. Thank you for the $5 going post. So I appreciate you, man. Thank you so much. That helps a lot. And thank you. I appreciate you. What would you recommend for someone that has $100K in cash, no debt, and all with a 760 credit score? Well, if I had $100K and I had great credit and I also had reoccurring income that comes in, so if I did want to invest that $100K, it wouldn't hurt me. I still got my income coming in. Then I would take the $100K and consider real estate investing. I would also consider other forms of investing. I just wouldn't have the $100K sitting around dormant unless that's your strategy, unless you are a conservative person and you want that money just sitting around not earning any additional cash for you. But if it was me and I had a good job or a good business that's giving me monthly reoccurring money that I can live on, and I'm not going to be hurt by deploying that $100K into investments, then I would think about real estate, in my opinion. Definitely real estate. And the reason I say real estate over luxury watch sales, but see, real estate is something you can get right into now without having a whole bunch of experience. As long as you go get you some help from a real estate agent, you may get some help from a property management company if you're not real versed in managing properties. Luxury watch sales is a lot harder to get into, guys, because it's a learning curve. It's a lot that goes into flipping these watches, buying them right, buying authentic watches, reselling them right, making sure you're not getting scammed by people trying to buy them from you and not really buy. It's a lot that goes into luxury watch sales. So I would say real estate and probably other forms of investing. I would say if I had the $100K, that's what I would do. Eugene, appreciate you, man. Thank you. Okay, but what if a person had no job? Well, then if I didn't have a job, then I would probably keep my $100K in a safe place until I could identify a primary source of income. What the last thing you want to do is you invest all that money in something, it don't work out, then you done lost the $100K and you don't have a job or a primary source of income. So my recommendation would be develop a primary source of income first. Whatever that is, you can start a business, develop additional streams of income, whatever it is, get you a primary source of income first, and then think about investing $100K. But until you do that, my recommendation is put that $100K somewhere safe until you can create additional streams of income or that primary source of income. Let's see here. Well, we got about 6 minutes. Okay, so very grateful for your time and advice. You're welcome. Thank you so much. How did you get started? Well, I got started in real estate, like I've said before, I got started when I was 26 and I bought my first house. I lived in it for 2 years and started renting that. I rented that property out and that started my real estate career right there, real estate investing career. Let's see what we got here. But what if, okay, talk now, I'm very grateful for your time. Thank you. Exactly. What's up, Rich? Hey, man, I'm doing good. How are you doing? Steve Q, great info as well. Thanks. I appreciate it, Steve. Thanks for stopping by, man. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support. Thank you for sharing your knowledge and wisdom. I'm just signing on. take care about, okay, I'm just signing on. Care to talk about business credit? Absolutely. We got about 5 minutes, so why don't you go ahead and ask your question on business credit, and I'll certainly give you my opinion on it. All right, guys, I'm going to do another quick plug on the channel. Like I was mentioning earlier in the live, I put up a ton of videos in July, so please take some time to go check them out. I think it's some good information, and I appreciate you guys supporting the channel, but I think it's some good information, so please take some time out and go check it out. Also, I'm going to try to get back on a normal schedule with the live streams. I know I haven't done one in probably about 3 to 4 weeks. I haven't done one. I just had some other stuff going on. I've been out of town a couple of weeks, a couple of weekends I was out of town, so I wasn't able to get back in town in time on Sundays and get them going. But my goal is at least to do 2 a month. I thought I could do one every Sunday, but sometimes that's a challenge for me. So I'm gonna try to do one every couple of weeks, but I'll always post it on my channel ahead of time to let you guys know when I'm gonna be doing the live. What would you recommend for someone to start business credit? Well, to start business credit, I would recommend, one, if you own a business, go out and get yourself a business credit card. They're typically rather easy to get as long as you got good personal credit. I would say get your business credit card in the name of your business and start using that business credit card to buy your products or pay for your utilities and things like that. Just start using it and pay it off every month. And then you'll start establishing business credit through that business credit card. And then I would say if you own a business that requires you buy equipment or a fleet of cars or one car for your business or computers, start getting a business loan from a local financial institution, or get a business loan from the manufacturer you're buying the equipment from. And the reason I say that is because if you're planning on growing your business and you're going to need you're going to need some type of financing from a lending institution in order to grow that business, you do want to start establishing business credit so that there's a track record of your business borrowing money and paying it back. So those are the 2 things I would recommend you do. Get a business credit card and use that for your expenses, but pay it off every month though. And then from there, if the business needs a car or a couple of cars for the business, then go to your local dealership. But when you buy those cars, you make sure they put them in the business name. And then that'll also earn you some credit on the business as well from a credit standpoint. Okay, Brandon, how are you investing? Okay. All right, guys. Well, we got about 2 minutes, so I'm winding down. I want to say again, thank you guys for your time on a Sunday evening. I appreciate you guys hanging out with me for an hour. I will be posting on Sundays when I'm going to have the live stream, so you guys will know. So just check the channel on Sundays. One more plug for the channel. Please, guys, go back and take a look at some of the videos that I put out in July. I think they're worth your time. There's some good videos in there about self-improvement and things that I do every day in order to keep a positive attitude and keep chasing my greatness. So I would ask you guys to check that out. I think it's some good information that you'll like and enjoy, and may learn some things out of it as well. As always, guys, keep chasing greatness. All of us have greatness in us. We just got to pull it out of ourselves. I would ask you also to get some people around you. Get you a circle of people around you that are successful, that want to make sure that you are successful. I'm one of those people, so you can certainly contact me on Instagram at RichardFain28. If you got any questions, DM me on Instagram at RichardFain28. You can add me as one of those people in your circle. I'm here to make sure you guys are successful in whatever you want to do. That's my way of giving back, because there were people that helped me to get to where I am. And it's my duty, it's all of our duty to help someone else achieve what they want to achieve. In my opinion, that's why we were put here. I think it's part of our duty to do that. So I thank you guys. I'm going to sign off. I will see you guys on the next live stream. And as I mentioned earlier, keep chasing greatness. Peace.